Hey guys, Sotak here, and today I'm going to show you how to shorten a nylon zipper, how to add fabric tabs to each side of your zipper, and how to install this zipper in your pouch for a neat professional finish. Let's start, shall we? So in this tutorial, we will be using a standard nylon zipper, the kind that you can purchase at pretty much any fabric or craft supply store. Now, the only thing you need to be careful about is the length of your zipper, and you need it to be slightly longer than the top edge of your pouches panel. Now, mine measures 9.5 inches long, so I would go for a zipper that's at least 10 inches long. As you can see, my zipper is quite a lot longer than 10 inches, but it's only because that's what I had on hand. So just work with what you have. I am using the Essential Pouch pattern for this tutorial, and I will put a link to the pattern in the description below if you are interested in purchasing it. But using pretty much any other zipper pouch pattern will work well. Just the same, you can just adjust the length of your zipper accordingly. Now, you will also need 2 fabric panels for your zipper tabs. Each measures 1.5 inches by 2 inches. So you need 2 of these. And as you can see, I'm using the same fabric as I'm using for the exterior of my pouch because it will make for a lovely matching finish. You will need some scissors that are okay for cutting through your zippers. You will also need some sewing clips or pins and all the standard sewing and pressing supplies. Let's start by getting our fabric tabs ready. So first of all, I'm going to place it right side down on a pressing board and fold it in half, bringing 1.5 inches, 1.5 edges together, like so. Hit it with some steam. Now open up the tab and bring this 1.5 inch edge towards the middle, not all the way, leave about 1/16 of an inch right there so you don't bring it all the way to the middle. And again, hit it with some steam and do the same on the other side. Now be careful when you do that because you're working with a small piece of fabric and a lot of steam and a hot iron, so you don't want to burn yourself. And now fold the tab in half like so. Here we go. And just hit it with a little bit of steam one more time. Okay, and this is what your tab looks like. At this point, it should measure 1.5 inches long by 1/2 inch tall. And go ahead and do the same for your second tab. I have my zipper tabs all neatly pressed right here, and now it's time to get our zipper ready. So as I mentioned before, the top of my pouches panel measures 9.5 inches long. So I want my zipper to be 1 inch shorter than the length of the pouch. So I need my zipper to be 8.5 inches long. So if your pouch panel were to be 7 inches long, your zipper needs to be 6 inches long, okay? So all the time, the zipper needs to be 1 inch shorter than the top edge of your pouch. So I'm going to bring a ruler next to my zipper and just mark an 8.5 inch mark along the zipper right here on both sides, like so. And I'm now going to take it to the sewing machine and stitch about 1/8 inch in from the mark right here, going back and forth a few times, making a zipper stop right here. Then I'll bring my zipper pull in and stitch along this edge right here as well, about 1/8 inch away from the markings. So I'm now going to stitch right here about 1/8 inch in from the marking right here, and I will use my sewing machine to stitch through there. Now, I find my sewing machine doesn't have any trouble sewing through these nylon coils. Of course, I'm avoiding all the metal parts because that would break my needle. Now, if you don't want to sew with your sewing machine, you could definitely just do a few stitches by hand. So I'll go back and forth a few times. See, I stitched right here inside these markings. And I'm going to do the same on the other side of the zipper, only this time remembering to bring my zipper pull in. It needs to be within the marked area right here. And I'm also going to hold these edges right here because this is an open end of the zipper. I want to make sure everything is lined up neatly, and I will bring it to my sewing machine right here. Okay, this is what it looks like at this point, and I'm going to use scissors to cut off all the remaining zipper that I don't need. Just cutting along the marks right here. Here we go. Discard that. And now the next step to do is to add our zipper tabs, I mean. So I'm just going to open up the tab, sandwich my zipper in the middle like so, and I will use a clip to hold it in place here. Neaten it up nicely so it's at a 90-degree angle, so everything is as straight as possible. And I'm going to hold the thread end tail right here so I don't get any knots on the bottom of my stitching. And I will stitch along this edge right here using 1/8 inch seam allowance. And this is what my zipper looks like. So the tab is added on both sides. I stitched through both sides, and I will do the same on the other side. And all that's left to do now is just trim off these remaining tabs right here, trim it flush with the zipper. Okay, my zipper is now neatly finished. Right here, I have fabric tabs on each side, and it's time to add it to my pouch panels. So I'm going to flip the zipper right side down like so, and center it along the panel's top edge. Centering meaning I have the same amount of fabric exposed on each side of the zipper. I should have about slightly less than 1/2 inch on each side of the zipper right here. And I will use my sewing clips. You could use pins for sure to just hold the zipper in place like so. And now I'm going to bring the lining for my pouch and place it right side down along the top of the pouch right here. So the right side of the lining and the right side of the exterior of the pouch are together, and there is a zipper in between. I'll place it down, and now I will move my clips to make sure I'm holding all the layers together. So there is the exterior panel of the pouch. The zipper is sandwiched in between, and here's the lining. And I'm going to take it to the sewing machine and stitch along this top edge right here using slightly less than 1/4 inch seam allowance. And you can definitely use a zipper foot for this step. I'm going to use just my standard presser foot because the one I have is quite thin, so it will work well for me. And I see that I'm coming close to my zipper pull right here. So I leave my needle down, lift up my presser foot, and move the zipper pull out of the way. I never want to sew around it because it would give me a bump in my stitching, and that's not what we want. And again, my needle is down. I put my presser foot down and I continue with my stitching. Now the zipper is neatly in between my two panels, and I'm going to press the exterior panel away from the zipper like so. Finger pressing is just fine, it will work well. You could definitely use an iron for that, but I find that finger pressing is just fine. And I will stitch along this edge right here using 1/8 inch seam allowance. And just notice that I'm not stitching over the lining. The lining stays on this side. So I will bring my needle down here and stitch along this edge. And again, I'm moving the zipper pull out of the way. And at this point, I will press the lining away from the zipper as well. Finger pressing again works just fine at this point. And now it's time to add our panel to the second exterior panel and the lining. So I'll place the exterior panel right side up, and I will place my panel with the zipper attached right side down along the panel's top edge right here. The same way we did for the first panels. Like so, I will center the zipper again, making sure the same amount of fabric is exposed on each side, and bring my lining right side down along the top edge, and I will clip all the layers together. And again, I will take this panel to my sewing machine, stitch along the top edge using slightly less than 1/4 inch seam allowance, and then I will flip the exterior panel away from the zipper and top stitch along the exterior panel the same way I did for my first panel. And at this point, I like to bring my pouch to my pressing board and press along these edges really well, making sure both exterior and the lining panels are neatly pressed away from the zipper so they don't get caught in your zipper when you're opening and closing the zipper. Now open your zipper about 3/4 of the way and bring your exterior panels right sides together and your lining panels right sides together, and we'll be clipping the pouch along these edges. Now, as you see, here is the zipper tab of the pouch, and I will fold it in a way where the zipper tab is pointing towards the lining, like so. I'll line up these seams and clip it together to hold it in place. I will also line up these seams right here where the bottom of the pouch is and the lining, and I'll do the same on the other side. And again, I want to kind of fold my zipper tab right here and point it towards the lining, like so. And clip it right here. And now I'm going to take my pouch to the sewing machine and stitch along the edges of the pouch, not going into these notches, using about 1/4 inch seam allowance. And here, when I get to the point where I have my zipper pulls, I know where they are. I want to sew as close to them as possible, but definitely not over them. So actually, for here, I might be able to use slightly larger than a 1/4 inch seam allowance. I'll see when it comes to it. It's totally okay to adjust the seam allowance according to what your pouch looks like at this point. And I will start stitching right here, back stitch at the beginning and end, stitch over here, this way, all the way around, and then end up stitching here. So I will leave about a 3-inch opening in the bottom seam of the lining right here. And this opening will be left unsewn so I can turn the pouch right side out. See here, as I'm getting to my zipper tab right here, I can even see how much space I have here, and I'm just going to try to sew as close to it as possible, and again, not over the tab. And I'm now going to take it to my pressing board and press all the seams open. And now I'm going to stitch these openings or gussets of the pouch closed by placing the seams over each other, so the side and bottom seam over each other, clipping it together and stitching along this straight edge right here using 1/4 inch seam allowance, and I will do the same for all 4 corners. And I will backstitch at the beginning and end. Okay, this is what my pouch looks like at this point, and I'm just going to turn it right side out through the hole in the lining, like so. Push out all the corners. And look at the zipper right here. I'll push it right side out like so. See how the zipper tab is open here? It's not caught in the stitches. And I'll do the same on the other side as well. Here's my zipper tab, all nice and loose, also not caught in the stitches. And that's what will give me this nice straight edge. I'll just smooth out this opening right here and use a clip or a pin to hold it in place like so, this hole, and I will take it to the sewing machine and stitch along this edge, back stitching at the beginning and end, using 1/8 inch seam allowance to stitch this closed. Now I stitched the hole in the lining closed. I'll push the lining inside the pouch and smooth everything out. And I'll just give the pouch one more quick press. I'm going to use a sleeve press because it works well for my pouches, but a standard pressing board works well just the same. And here is my finished zipper pouch. There's fabric tabs on each side of the zipper. The pouch is fully lined, and as you can see, you have beautiful straight edges right here because we stitched right next to these tabs and not over the tabs. And it gives you a nice, neat finish. So that's it. Please give a thumbs up if you enjoyed this tutorial, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel so you don't miss out on any of my upcoming video tutorials. Thanks for watching. Bye!